segment of shows, fresh energy, hard-hitting content, and as always, you are more than welcome to bring your knife, fork, or spoon to the conversation dinner table known simply as Alabama football. We're live, rocking, rolling, in my own words, the podcast Touchdown Alabama Magazine premier football show. You're in the cut with your boy, Stephen M. Smith. How we doing, ladies and gentlemen? Got a great edition of shows here for you. University of Alabama head football coach Nick Saban and the remainder of his peers in the Southeastern Conference are in Destin, Florida this week for SEC coaches spring meetings. Nick Saban was thrown a multitude of questions throughout the week on a number of different topics, and we'll get to those that range from his viewpoint on graduate transfers. I know Georgia head coach Kirby Smart had a comment he wanted to make about Nick Saban. We'll dive into that also. I also want to get into my top 5 coaches that will have the most pressure on them entering next season of college football. But first and foremost, Alabama football received some good news, some great news actually, on last week as it got a 3-star commitment for its 2018 signing class at quarterback, young man by the name of Layne Hatcher of Little Rock, Arkansas. Hatcher attended Pulaski Academy. According to 247 Sports, he's listed as a dual threat quarterback. When you look at Arkansas sports, Arkansas football, high school football, it's not as big as Alabama high school football, Texas high school football, California high school football, Georgia, Florida high school football, etc. But know some friends that cover the Arkansas beat, and according to them, the state is rising. The state is becoming competitive. The state is starting to hit a peak in terms of producing that wanted high school talent. And it appears as though Hatcher is the one who is leading the front. Getting into some news and notes on the Pulaski Academy alumnus here, Hatcher ended his tenure with 15,472 passing yards, which was a state record. He carried a completion rating of 74%, also a state record. Took his team to the Class 5A state championship game in 2017. And while his team won the state title, Hatcher took home Most Valuable Player honors. This is a young man that totaled more than 151 career touchdown passes. And there was one game in particular, I go back to Pulaski Academy's game against Little Rock Christian in 2017, in which Hatcher completed 36 of 45 passes, that's 80%, for 757 yards and 9 touchdowns in an 86-56 win for Pulaski Academy. All of those individual numbers I just listed there were all state records for Hatcher. During the first 6 games of 2017, he had a touchdown to interception ratio of 38-1. Nick Saban very intrigued by that. That grabbed his attention early. Hatcher at 6'1", 204 pounds, not the biggest guy, but according to Nick Saban in Destin, Florida for the SEC coaches meeting, when the question of Hatcher, was thrown to him, he said he's intrigued by the accuracy this young man possesses, the decision-making, his athletic ability. Talked about how Alabama very excited to have somebody of his caliber, especially when you talk about playing the numbers game here. Since 2008, Alabama typically tries to keep 4 quarterbacks on a roster. That was not the case last season. It only had 3, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, and Mac Jones. But usually Nick Saban wants to have that magical number of 4 for insurance policies in the case of somebody having a season-ending injury, or if somebody transfers out of the program, you have the backup plan right there. Crimson Tide originally wanted that spot to be for graduate transfer Gardner Minshew out of East Carolina University. But I honestly think the Crimson Tide took the better draw in bringing in Layne Hatcher from Arkansas. In the case of, does this mean Alabama's definitely losing a quarterback to a transfer? We're going to have to see. Because in fall camp, therein lies the battle between Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. The loser of the two, whether it's decided in fall camp, whether it's decided after the first game of the season against Louisville, the loser between Jalen and Tua has a huge decision to make. Either it chooses to stay, they choose to stay, he chooses to stay and support the backup quarterback through it all, or you choose to take a red shirt, not play this season, get your grades in line, get your degree, request a transfer waiver, and leave in December. If the loser between Jalen and Tua decides to stay at Alabama, play, support the starting quarterback as the backup guy, Layne Hatcher will be relegated to a clipboard. If the loser between Jalen and Tua sees, hey, there's absolutely no room for me, I'll redshirt, I'll get my grades in line, I'll request the transfer waiver, and I head out in December, there could be a situation where maybe Hatcher can get some spot play. Not 100% sure, but as it stands right now, just on the surface, Nick Saban wants the numbers game. He's got his fourth quarterback in Hatcher out of Arkansas. Went back, watched this guy's film. He's got accuracy, precise with the football, strong decision making. I get it, it's high school. I get it, it's Arkansas high school that's slowly starting to peak a little bit. But the fact that Alabama has a quarterback for its 2018 class, some good news there for the Crimson Tide. Taking our first break here on In My Own Words. When we get back, we dive into the questions that were thrown at Saban at the SEC Coaches Spring Meeting in Destin on graduate transfers, and we dive into the comment that Kirby Smart made. That and more coming up on the other side of the break. We'll be right back. It's your boy, Stephen M. Smith, host of In My Own Words, the podcast. If you are a fan of this show, then I encourage you to subscribe to the Touchdown Alabama Magazine YouTube channel. Also follow the brand on Facebook, Twitter, and other forms of social media as we continue to bring you the best in Alabama football and Crimson Tide athletics.